Welcome everyone to today's webinar, the first in our series of how big construction product manufacturers are operationalizing transparency. We're really excited about all our webinars, and this one in particular. It's really excellent to have Georgia Pacific, Sika, and Rockwool talk about how they've been over time investing in product transparency and improving product environmental performance and material health. So as industry leaders, they're going to share with us the results of integrating product transparency into product development and product marketing, and how they're shaping their organizations to work collaboratively internally and to set and execute on environmental and material health goals. So these three manufacturers have been over time providing transparency documentation across their product lines, and today each of them is going to walk through their story for you to learn about the history of the brand, what they've been doing, their transparency journeys, the strategies they've been employing, the outcomes that they're getting. They're going to share some really great new product and project stories with you, and then talk about the benefits that they have been seeing as a result of investing in transparency. Again, what did they learn? How are they applying those learnings? And really, what are the benefits that they've seen in their respective businesses? This webinar is getting recorded. You will get a recording, a link to the recording in the next day or two. There will be a follow-up email. You can request the deck. And any questions that you have, please go ahead and put them in the questions panel. We will answer them either during the webinar or at the end if we have time. Any questions you put in that don't get answered, we definitely, the right person will follow up with you to answer them. And we're just gonna dig right in. So we have really a fantastic array of presenters. You'll be hearing from all of them. I'm gonna start out talking about sustainable mines and the importance of environmental performance. I'm gonna give you all an overview of the transparency catalog content so that creates a context for each of their presentations. Then you'll hear from the team from Georgia Pacific, then Sika and Rockwool. Then we're going to give you kind of a sneak preview of Project Builder Library that is in private beta coming later this fall publicly. And if there's time, we'll move into some Q&A. Okay, for those of you who are new to Sustainable Mines, we are the only end-to-end product transparency solutions provider in the market today. We are a program operator. We develop PCRs, we publish EPDs, we deliver technical services, LCA, material ingredient disclosure, carbon accounting, and we have the transparency catalog, which is the destination for finding all the manufacturers making products for the North American market who have invested in one or both types of product transparency, because creating PCRs and EPDs, doing LCAs, and publishing those results in terms of EPDs, those public-facing results, we look at those as marketing tools. It's all in the service of not only internally understanding the impacts to make improvements, the external publication of an EPD is optional. And now that environmental performance and material health are part of the definition of high performance buildings, they are two performance criteria that people are using to make decisions about products. Not only how to make products, but how to select products and add them to projects. But what we like to do is focus initially on the primary purpose of doing LCAs and material ingredient assessments is for manufacturers to gain insight into the environmental performance and human health impacts of their products so they can make improvements. So each generation of product is higher performing because, again, these are performance attributes that their sales and marketing people need to be able to speak to just as eloquently and knowledgeably as they speak about every other performance criteria: functional performance, cost, aesthetic, safety. These are things that people want to know about your products It's all part and parcel now of making decisions. And so it's really important that manufacturers and the customer-facing people from each manufacturer can speak knowledgeably about what that manufacturer is doing to improve new products that have come out of this process. And so, no longer are we in the phase where it was enough to have a material ingredient disclosure or an EPD for someone to check a box. People want to do business with brands that are actually making higher performing products. Performance matters. And moreover, people want to do business with brands they trust. So being knowledgeable about environmental performance and material health alongside all the other performance criteria is what builds a credibly greener and healthier brand. So for those of you new to the transparency catalog, this is a screenshot of the front page. Our focus is really about helping the design and construction industry select, specify, and procure high-performance building construction materials that meet both carbon impact and material health goals, both side by side. And in fact, we're very upfront about making sure we also speak about material health alongside decarbonization, which is getting a lot of attention, and rightfully so, but not to the exclusion of the material side of things. The Transparency Catalog, which we launched in 2016 with only 350 manufacturers who were investing in transparency for the North American market. We have curated every EPD from all program operators for products in North America, product specific, industry average, and optimized, and every material ingredient disclosure from all the programs that are eligible, where their disclosures are eligible to contribute to the rating system credits. We have APIs from the HPDC, Declare, Cradle to Cradle. And our data team has gotten very, very expert at monitoring the landscape of manufacturers who are producing transparency documentation for the first time and adding those manufacturers to the catalog. We're finding roughly 20 manufacturers, new manufacturers every month who get added to the catalog, who have either published EPDs or one of those types of material ingredient disclosures for the first time. And we knew when we started the catalog in 2016 that it needed to be a specification tool, that it was, if a product was going to get into a project, it needed to be able to get into the spec. So today, we've got over 2,000 manufacturers in 28 master format divisions and over 1,280 sections, which makes us think that there probably isn't any kind of commercial or even residential or even infrastructure project that's going to happen today where you wouldn't be able to find manufacturers' products with transparency documentation for every section in the project. I mentioned we have APIs and we have this great data team. Our whole focus has always been on making the data for products not just findable, but usable, so that people understand what the data means from the disclosures, because they're technical, they're hard to understand. So what we want to do, what we've always tried to do, is make the data, the results of those disclosures, more understandable and display that data in the interface of the catalog so that users don't necessarily need to dig into each disclosure to read it and understand. And I'll show you what that's going to look like. So we are always focused on adding to the transparency catalog more and better tools that make it even easier for building construction professionals to find the products, make better decisions, and be able to do it quickly, but with certainty and security that they're making well-informed decisions. Here's an example of a manufacturer's listing. We like to say this is like a microsite of the manufacturer's website through the lens of transparency. There's a lot of tools built in. We're sending people back through the listing to the manufacturer's website for product information. But at the core of the listing is this product table that's a matrix. And this is what I want to bring your attention to. The horizontal axis is the master format section. Oftentimes you'll be able to find the manufacturer spec. The vertical axis is the name of the product, which will link back to the product page on the manufacturer's website, which should be the single source of truth. And then we correlate the types of disclosures, environmental performance and material health, the manufacturer has for each product. So you never have to wonder which EPD or which declare label or HPD goes with which product. We've done that for you. And we've also shown you, again, in a glance, the results, the scope and the results of each of those disclosure types. Again, we've got some built-in tools. We're really trying to help you, building construction industry professionals, be able to get sample spec, quote, and submittal help. You'll be able to do that right through each manufacturer's listing. You can put in your information, or you can contact people directly, whichever you choose. I encourage you to try those things out. We've also made it easier for you to share information. If you find a brand or a product that you like, and for those of you who are from manufacturers who are on the call today, this means you're never going to have to email a PDF around ever again. Anybody can use that share link. It pops up a customized email. Go here, you're going to find everything we have. Never email a PDF around ever again. And even though we focus on environmental performance and material health, we do tell the user where to find all of the other transparency or sustainability documentation that the manufacturer has invested in, whether it's for low emitting materials, sourcing of raw materials or ingredients. And we're going to give you the link of where to go find it. We're going to tell you either go to the product page, go to a downloads page, or if the manufacturer has neither but has invested in mindful materials, we'll send the users there too to find all the documentation a user has. Now, I talked earlier about integrations with data partners and making the content more understandable. We were the very first data partner with the EC3 tool when they were in alpha, and this is great. This is another data point we can add about the results of an EPD. And so we worked with the folks at the EC3, again, very early on, to turn their methodology into a tooltip and be able to explain the comparative results of the particular EPD to the industry range, which is what the EC3 tool does, and just make it visual. So a user can scan a manufacturer's listing and see that's the product, there's an EPD, that's the percentile that it's in compared to the industry range. 20th is best, being in the lowest 20th percentile. And you can see this product's got a red list free declare label, and it helps people just quickly identify products they might be interested in. We link right into the EC3 tool so people can start running comparisons or building projects. If you've come in through EC3, every digital EPD contains the link back to the manufacturer's listing in the transparency catalog to kind of connect that last mile. And because we have this data, we easily have been able to add this filter that allows users to decide, hey, if I'm searching for products and I want products with EPDs and I'm going to set my threshold of acceptance, I can decide I only want to see manufacturers who have EPDs in the lowest 20th or 40th or 60th. And in a glance, again, you can compare manufacturers' results against other manufacturers. Here's another filter we introduced recently in partnership with the HPDC and Perkins & Will. The new HPD version 2.3, actually new, came out last year, added additional list that they're screening against. One new list is the Perkins & Will precautionary list. Perkins & Will asked us if we could build a filter so they could find in a single click products that met the requirements of their precautionary list. And that's what we've done. And so now anybody can use that same level of expert material health screening to choose materials that meet that level of of results. And there's, again, a lot of different ways based on how users want to parameterize their product selection, in addition to master format, rating system, disclosure type, again, selection threshold, in any order, so that people can find things applying the criteria in the order that makes sense to them to ultimately get to the best products for a project. And with that introduction, I'm really honored to introduce the team from Georgia Pacific to tell you about their transparency journey. Abby, take it away.
Cool, thanks, Terry. We're going to introduce ourselves. There are 3 of us presenting today from Georgia Pacific. Just to kick it off, my name is Abby Tackett. I'm a Sustainability Strategy Manager at Georgia Pacific. That means that I help building products and also a few other businesses under that Georgia Pacific umbrella with sustainability, point of view, research, and also developing and implementing our sustainability strategy. I have a background that's pretty broad in supply chain management, manufacturing, and logistics, as well as sustainability. And I've been with Georgia Pacific for around 6.5 years. My passion on here is responsible resource management. So what I mean by that is just making sure that we are managing resources in a way that is responsible, whether that's decreasing the amount of resources or energy that we're using, decreasing waste, or just optimizing our manufacturing processes. I'm just interested in conducting business in a way that is sustainable in the many definitions that that word can take on. John?
Thanks, Abby. My name is John Chamberlin. I'm a Senior Director of Product Management for Georgia Pacific. I've been with GP for about 5 years, but I've been in the construction products industry my entire career now. As I will talk about a little bit more in detail in just a minute, my big function is taking various inputs like the sustainability point of view that Abby just mentioned and trying to understand how we can apply that to new product innovation. And that's actually my passion, is trying to understand how we can enhance the built environment through new product and service innovation. And I'll hand it off to Wyatt.
Thank you, John. My name is Wyatt Greene. I work in the Technical Services Department for Georgia Pacific Building Products. So in a nutshell, what we do is we provide support and testing for our products after they're commercialized. A little bit about my background. I've been in the construction industry in some form or fashion for 20 years, half of it spent in the contracting space, the other half in the manufacturing side. I've been with Georgia Pacific for 5 years now. My passion is I find building science really interesting in all aspects. So, always trying to learn and grow in this constantly evolving area that we are so fortunate to be able to work in. I'm looking forward to talking about transparency with you later on.
Awesome. Thanks, Wyatt and John. And just a little bit of background on why we have 3 people presenting today, and that is that we all work together. None of our jobs are going on in isolation from each other. So I am, like John hit on, I'm working on the sustainability insights and prioritizing the different initiatives. John's using those insights along with his own knowledge to identify opportunities in product development, and then Wyatt's using product specifications and the transparency documents to really share that knowledge internally and externally. So we're very intertwined, whether that's directly or indirectly, and we thought we could give you all a better presentation today that was a bit more well-rounded coming from the 3 of us. So I am going to just kick this off with a little bit of background about Georgia Pacific. GP was founded in 1927 in Augusta, Georgia, and actually was known as Georgia Hardware Lumber Company as a hardware lumber reseller. And we now have 150 locations around the world. And beyond just building products that we're going to talk about today, where we have gypsum, lumber, engineered wood panels, oriented strand board, and plywood, we also have a variety of different businesses. We like to say we make everything from paper towels to 2x4s. So we have a consumer products business that includes paper plates, cups, toilet paper, paper towels, We also have a packaging and cellulose business, recycling business, and we even have a new Juno business, which is a new waste diversion technology that's pretty interesting if anyone wants to research that outside of this presentation. I also just wanted to hit on, this is a map of our production facility locations. There are 33 across the United States. If you look at the blue and red and yellow polka dots, those are our wood production mills. They're primarily located in the Southeast because that's close to where we source our wood. All of our wood is sustainably and responsibly sourced. It's either SFI, Sustainable Forestry Initiative, apologies, or FSC, Forest Stewardship Council. And for every one tree that we use, at least one tree is regrown. Our gypsum facilities are the polka dots that are a seafoam green color, and those are really spread across the US. The idea is to optimize servicing our customers and really minimize our transportation impact. And we really just wanted to start this off with a high-level snippet of our stewardship framework. We believe this is important to share before we walk through the EPDs and HPDs because this is how we conduct business every day. What we feel like differentiates us from our competitors, which is very common to have environmental, social, and governance framework, is that we really take a bottom-up approach where these initiatives are driven by each individual employee, and our employees really have the autonomy to apply these to their everyday roles. The first column that you see here is environmental, and this framework is really all about creating value, so creating products that our customers want. If they're not going to buy it from Georgia Pacific, they're going to buy it from another supplier, but providing these values using the least amount of resources and really being responsible with those resources that we use. The social framework is really rooted in removing barriers that hold people back and empowering everyone to achieve their potential. And then governance, which at first glance always seems like the most boring category, actually makes environmental and social possible. It really holds us accountable for our vision and values. And this consists of our risk management frameworks, our compliance standards, KPIs, certifications, and this is also where you'll see environmental product declarations and health declarations, which we're going to talk about throughout the rest of this presentation. All right, and I also wanted to kick this off with just a kind of a scope of our product transparency, where we would like to be transparent with not only how we produce our products, but what's in our products so that customers are able to make informed decisions. We have transparency documentation for around 90% of our gypsum DINs, our glass mat, and tough rock paper-based products that we produce by volume. And we also participate in industry average data collections, either through the Gypsum Association or AWC, American Wood Council, for example. All right, and then beyond just providing customers with information so that they're able to make informed decisions, we have also learned a lot about what contributes to our product's footprint. We've always strived towards continuous improvement in our operations because this is just a part of our stewardship framework, but through producing EPDs and HPDs, we've really been able to map and understand our hotspots, and this has really helped us prioritize our efforts as well as measure. So an example of something that has been done in a recent investment at our Sweetwater East gypsum facility, we installed an EOS system, an energy optimization system. It's supposed to, we are estimated to see a net energy savings and a reduction in around 2,500 tons per year of CO2 emissions. That's just one example. I'm going to kick it over to John. He's going to go through some more product-specific examples.
Thanks, Abby. Yeah, so I am going to talk a little bit about those products that we are actually producing. I think Abby just touched on how much effort goes into making sure that we're making these as cleanly as possible and with as much thoughtfulness as possible, but we also want to make sure that the products we actually bring to market are making a positive impact as well. So take a quick step back in history, nearly 40 years ago, Georgia-Pacific was manufacturing gypsum-based products with paper facings on them. And in a lot of cases, those products were being used in the exterior application. And what we saw was that this raised a real challenge because, of course, paper face at that time was really creating a lot of opportunity for mold and mildew and the potential degradation of the product and ultimately the building. And so not really the sort of resilient type of construction that we think of now in modern terms. So way back then, we decided to introduce a new product, Den's Glass Gold, which removed that paper facing and replaced it with a glass mat gypsum facing. And that's pretty well recognized, very characteristic gold exterior that you can still see today on the outsides of buildings. But we've continued to carry that thoughtfulness forward. So we've continued to innovate and advance in these spaces where obviously we want to reduce the impact that moisture would have on our products. But then we said, hey, we can take this even further. And so on the screen right now, you see one example, or really several examples of our Den's Deck line of products. These are roof boards and cover boards, gypsum based, so you still have the fire protection that you're looking for with a gypsum type of product. And then we've continued to innovate in ways that make them more optimized for ease of installation, so reducing energy and labor for the installation of the roof assembly as a whole, and perhaps more importantly than that, robust in a way that can really enhance the durability or the resilience of that roof assembly, taking that so far as to even offer our most recent product that we launched, our Den's Deck StormX Prime Roof Board, which is actually the first gypsum-based roof cover board that allows for a number of assemblies to meet very severe hail ratings. So while the product itself is very robust and durable, it can actually enhance the performance of that assembly. And that's one of the ways that we try and think about high performance products, is not only what our product is doing, but how it's contributing to the broader building. And I'll talk about another couple of examples with similar theme on this next slide. So I mentioned already our Den's Glass Gold, which is a very popular product that you'll still see today. And now you might see another product, our Den's Element Barrier System. And I said product, but really this is a system in the sense that it does bring all of our thoughtfulness and expertise to an enhanced moisture-resistant sheathing. But we couple it with another product, our Densify line of products, so that it acts as a sheathing, as well as a weather barrier and an air barrier. So in traditional construction, you would have a sheathing such as a Den's glass, or for wood types of construction, you might have OSB or plywood, and those would really act as your exterior wall. And then in a lot of cases, the substrate for your next subsequent layers of water resistive barriers, air barrier assembly. And we kind of recognize that those are very important critical layers. In fact, the air barrier in particular can greatly contribute to the energy performance of the building, and there have actually been studies that say that reducing unwanted air movement can actually enhance energy usage somewhere in the 36 to 40% range. But there's a lot of energy expended in adding those systems as secondary layers. There's a lot of unnecessary material waste that goes into adding those systems as secondary layers. And so with both of these systems, the Den's Element Barrier System, as well as the Force Field Weather Barrier System, we said, how can we carry this thoughtfulness around a leaner type of construction forward? And so here we've got two sheathing systems that are already designed with the WRB, the weather resistive barrier, integrated into the systems themselves. And so we're reducing the energy consumed as you're reducing trips around the building, we're reducing the potential for material waste as you're adding secondary layers, and we're ultimately creating products that should be simpler and more efficient ways of achieving this air tightness that enhances the energy performance as well. And so just a few examples of how we think our products can contribute to a better building, better hopefully for the building as well as for the occupants of the building and the overall performance. And now I'll hand it off to Wyatt.
Thank you, John. So now I'll talk about why look for transparency information in the products that you specify or the products that you select. And for the longest, we've looked at, and when I say we, I mean in the building industry, important aspects of a product's performance or profile, its durability, its impact on other aspects of the building operations. So transparency helps bring in an additional dimension to consider for a product. For environmental product declarations, the impact that product had from manufacturing to the job site. For health product declarations, for the ongoing potential impacts for human health to help us have a better understanding of places where we spend most of our time, and including indoor air quality information. And for us, it'd be Green Guard Gold certificates, for example. So our customers, want to be able to provide or be able to have informed decisions, based on verified data prepared from third parties. And as part of our stewardship framework that Abby had mentioned, we are at the point now where about 90% of the products we make by volume, we can provide that kind of transparency documentation. And we're always working to close that gap and to pay attention, to get the products transparency information that are needed. And one point I wanted to make, I was talking with a colleague of mine that he had mentioned to me, and I thought it was a great point. Transparency documentation has really changed the kinds of conversations that we have in the industry and how we talk and we think about things. Where before transparency, if you were wanting to use a product, specify it, a lot of times manufacturers, to get the point across of the hurdles that they were making and to make their products greener, they would have to compare apples to oranges. Using our product is the equivalent of saving X miles driven or X miles flown. The nice thing about transparency is it does away with that, and it allows for apples to apples comparison of like product to like product. And so just to wrap it up, so the importance of product transparency and what needs to happen for manufacturers to continue, one, just kind of stating the obvious. There's a lot of momentum underway, and we certainly think it's going to keep going and only become more strict, and people are going to want to have more options and more information. But especially here, I would say in tech services, the request for transparency information generally comes to us or goes to us, and so we have those conversations. So continue to provide challenge and feedback to manufacturers. The conversations that I have, if you're looking for something, what matters to you, how are you looking at it? There's a lot of information in these, and it really helps us to know, what information is important to you. Those conversations and that information doesn't stop with us. That gets elevated up through leadership to help us whenever we go through these cycles. The creation of EPDs, which have a 5-year renewal process, and EPDs is an iterative process. So with that said, I think we're at time, and I will hand it off.
Well, thank you, Abby, John, and Wyatt. There's so much content you guys could share, and it's really exciting to learn about how you've really created this integrated and collaborative team. And so from here, we're going to move over to Sika, and Monica, take it away.
Thank you, Terry. So, went too far. My name is Monica Morano. I am the Product Sustainability Specialist for Sika US. A little bit about my bio, my responsibilities and interest in sustainability. My career started at Sika 6 years ago in our environmental health and safety team, and over a year ago I transitioned over to sustainability, with my key responsibilities being aligning our product portfolio so that we can contribute to green building standards such as LEED, as well as quantifying the environmental impacts of our existing and new product developments through the creation of life cycle assessments, as well as environmental product declarations. And my interest in sustainability really comes from the fact that the built environment generates 40% of annual global CO2 emissions, and working for a manufacturer that develops construction products for the building materials industry, we have the opportunity to make massive reductions in the CO2 emissions and really make a difference when it comes to reducing global emissions. A little bit about Sika Corporation. Sika is a specialty chemicals company with a leading position in the development of a wide range of products for the building sector as well as the motor vehicle industry. Sika US was founded in 1937, and we have over 4,000 employees in the US with 43 factories as well as 9 distribution centers. In terms of factories worldwide, our overall footprint is over 400 plants, and net sales were 10.49 billion last year. Sustainability is one of Sika's core business strategies, and we've been really demonstrating this with our pledge to the Science Based Target initiatives to reach net zero emissions by 2050. Now, this pledge involves 2 separate targets, one for scope 1 and 2 emissions, which are our direct emissions related to our operations and our production processes of our products, as well as targets for scope 3 emissions, which are indirect emissions that, for the most part, the majority of our emissions at Sika when it comes to scope 3 come from the raw materials that we purchase to manufacture our products. For scope 1 and 2, meeting our targets will require a significant amount of investment in our operations when it comes to improving operational efficiencies, implementing renewable energy on site, looking at our current equipment and making upgrades to reduce the emissions and energy consumption of our plants. For scope 3, our strategy is really with sourcing alternate raw materials that have a lower carbon intensity, as well as partnering with net zero shippers and our suppliers in our entire value chain. So Sika manufactures a wide range of products that fall within 8 target markets that you will be seeing on the next 2 slides. So a few of our technologies include concrete admixtures, concrete reinforcing fibers, below grade waterproofing and coatings, epoxy and urethane floorings, as well as adhesives and joint sealants. Our other industries manufacture PVC and liquid applied roofing membranes, as well as green roofs. Our building finishing target market manufactures grouts, stuccos, tile adhesives. Our refurbishment industry target market manufactures mortars and epoxy products. And then our industry group manufactures adhesives for the automotive and vehicle manufacturing industry, as well as products for the renewable energy market. In recent years, we have seen a push towards product transparency and the development of sustainable products for the building sector. And this push has really come from a few areas, but mainly it's come from contractors, building owners, and specifiers, as well as from regulations such as Buy Clean initiatives at the federal and state level. These initiatives have really created global warming potential limits on a very few key building materials, and this has pushed the entire industry to really become more sustainable and allowed us to help our customers meet their sustainability targets as well. One of the areas where Sika has seen increased customer demand when it comes to product transparency has really been with our material ingredient transparency. So to meet this, Sika has worked with a consultant called Green Circle LLC, and we've developed a document called a manufacturer inventory, which is actually an accepted methodology for achieving the material ingredient reporting lead credit. So page 1 of a manufacturer inventory includes an introduction into Sika's sustainability targets, as well as the intent of the document. Page 2 includes all publicly disclosed ingredients as well as proprietary ingredients up to 1,000 parts per million and their associated GHS hazards. And our motivation with developing such a wide range of manufacturer inventories for our product portfolio has really been due to the fact that Sika's chemistries are protected with patent, they're highly confidential, and developing manufacturer inventories allows us to disclose the full formulation without going into the nitty-gritty details of the raw materials that we are currently using in order to protect our products and our proprietary information. One of my specific focuses as of late has been in the development of environmental product declarations, or EPDs, which are documents which quantify the environmental impact of a product, taking in the full life cycle approach. As many of you know, or my colleagues have mentioned, that developing EPDs is a very time-consuming and resource-intensive process that can be quite costly for manufacturers. And Sika has recently invested in the capabilities to develop LCAs in-house, which actually allow us to control all of the data collection, and we're able to create the EPDs for our customers within a fraction of the time. In addition to developing LCAs in-house, we've also created a semi-automated LCA tool specifically for our concrete admixture products. This tool is actually a pre-verified LCA, and you are not required to be an LCA expert to use it. So we can actually have product managers or R&D managers using the tool and looking at the impacts of the product. And in addition to having being an easier way to develop an EPD, this tool has actually allowed us to develop products with a lower footprint and look at that overall embodied carbon number within the innovation process and the product development process. So on the next 3 slides, I will go over 3 products which have a compelling sustainability story, and I'll introduce a few of the sustainability documentation that Sika has actually developed to certify our sustainability claims. So the first product that I have here is monolithic membrane 6125, which is actually manufactured by one of Sika's acquired companies, American Hydrotech. It is a hot fluid applied rubberized asphalt membrane for waterproofing and a number of different roofing applications. As you can see here on this image, it can actually be used in green roofing systems as well. The product has been on the market for over 60 years. In terms of sustainability, we have a full life cycle cradle to gate with options product specific EPD, and the product itself contains a 40% average recycled content, which has been verified through UL Environment. In terms of material transparency, we have developed an HPD for this product. Another product that I wish to feature during this webinar was Sarnafil S327. This is actually the first single ply roofing membrane with a cradle to grave product specific EPD, as well as an industry-wide EPD that we've participated with the CFFA group. The product itself contains a recycled content of 10%. It is a PVC thermoplastic roofing membrane that's actually mechanically fixed. And since the membrane is mechanically fixed, it can be easily removed, and Sika actually accepts building owners' existing PVC roofing membranes for recycling at the end of product life and reintroduces them back into production. As of this year, Sika has recycled over 90 million pounds of PVC roofing membrane. And in terms of sustainability assessments and documentation, it is also platinum certified according to NSF ANSI 347, and our material ingredients are all disclosed on a manufacturer inventory. The last product that I wanted to feature is Sika Flex 1A, which is an architectural polyurethane joint sealant that it is used in a wide range of applications, for both interior and exterior applications. For this product, we have a cradle to gate EPD, and we've also tested our VOC emissions according to California Department of Public Health Standard Method version 1.2. We've also disclosed our material ingredients for this product using a manufacturer inventory method.
So Monica, we're running a little long. If I could ask you to
Sure.
go quickly to save
So
time.
I think I'll just fast forward a little bit into our improvements and innovations. So for what we've really learned during this process is that sustainability takes commitment from an entire organization, whether it's operations, optimizing production process, as well as R&D, evaluating lower carbon materials and reformulating products, and procurement sourcing different types of materials. It takes an entire organization in order to really achieve our sustainability goals. And what we really want at Sika is for us to consider sustainability at the forefront of product innovation rather than an afterthought. And we've done that through developing tools in-house using this mindset and evaluating the performance as well as sustainability of our products during the innovation portion and product development portion. So to conclude my presentation, why should we be looking for products with transparency information? Because really it allows our customers to make informed decisions, and having this type of information gives us the ability to reduce the embodied carbon of construction products and meet a project's decarbonization goal. And this shift is required in order for us to ultimately help in the fight against climate change. Thank you, Terry. That's all I have.
I think that was plenty. You guys are really doing a lot, and I applaud what you're doing, and also great story. Thank you, Monica. Alejandra, tell us about Rockwool.
Great, thank you, Terry. So my name is Alejandra Nieto. I am the Sustainability Manager at Rockwool North America. And so my role is essentially to manage the sustainability strategy and product profile of the stone wool insulation that we produce in North America. My background stems from being in architecture, focusing originally in building science, but then evolving into a more sustainability focus within my line of work. And the reason for that is we know, as we understand, that construction materials in itself have a very large impact on the energy efficiency and sustainability of our buildings and our built environment. And so it's really important from my perspective to ensure that we are conducting holistic assessments of the products that we're choosing for our projects, both from a pre-construction consideration, but also the in-situ performance and long-term performance and durability. So as I mentioned, I work at Rockwool North America. The Rockwool Group is a global company that encompasses 5 different brands. The one that you are familiar with and that I'll be focusing on today is the Rockwool brand itself, that focuses on manufacturing stone wool building insulation, as well as parts of core solution insulation and technical insulation. At Rockwool, we approach sustainability, and our approach to sustainability is very closely aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So we have committed to focusing on 11 of the 17 goals, focused on maximizing our positive product impact, as well as minimizing our operational footprint. We have 6 sustainability goals and 2 science-based targets. All of this information is reported yearly in our sustainability report that is verified and assured in performance. I mentioned that we had 6 sustainability goals, and so these goals are encompassing the reduction of our CO2 emission intensity, the reduction of our water use, reduction of waste to landfill from our facilities, increasing the amount of reclaimed material, improving the performance of not just our operations, but also in our own offices. And then, of course, everything being the utmost important is the safety, health, and well-being of our employees. In 2019, we committed to 2 science-based target initiatives. The first one being the reduction of the absolute Scope 1 and Scope 2 greenhouse gas emissions, and the second one focusing on the reduction of absolute Scope 3 greenhouse gas emissions. And so these 2 science-based target initiatives are really important in highlighting Rockwool's commitment to decarbonization and creating and developing more sustainable building products. And so not only do we use these goals and targets to verify and measure our corporate and operational performance, but we use them as a tool to also measure and improve the products that we're bringing into the market as well. And so this is where product transparency documentation comes into play. This allows us to measure and track the performance of our products, and it creates that link between these corporate sustainability goals that many manufacturers have, and then actually being able to see how these goals and targets are in fact improving the products that you are going to be using in your buildings today. So to highlight, all of the Rockwool insulation products in North America have some degree of product transparency disclosure, including all of our products are part of our environmental product declaration. All of our products also have health product declarations. Many of our products have declare labels, as well as Green Guard and Green Guard Gold certifications, among others, that of course can be found on our website, but we wanted to highlight that all of this information is also linked directly on our Sustainable Mines Transparency page. Aligning with these types of platforms is really critical as a manufacturer to ensure that customers, the design community, can really access this information very easily. And so we strongly believe in forming alliances and connections with industries such as this. So just to highlight some of the key product transparency documentations, Rockwool has a Type 3 product-specific third-party verified environmental product declarations. And I did want to highlight that most of our products also do fall within the 20th percentile in terms of global warming potential performance. One of the material ingredient reporting certifications that we have are our declare labels. Rockwool has a total of 4 declare labels covering 12 of our product lines, and they cover everything from interior to our exterior insulation products, as well as our faced products. And we also have over 20 health product declarations rated at a disclosure of 100 parts per million. And so really both the HPDs and the declare labels are also, from a manufacturer's perspective, a demonstration of our commitment to work with our suppliers to ensure that we are being as transparent as possible, working closely with them to not only disclose our ingredients, but ensuring that our suppliers understand that part of doing business is also working closely with them to disclose some of their ingredients as well. The reason why we pushed for both health product declarations and declare labels. And so to highlight one of the benefits of having product transparency documentations, I wanted to demonstrate a quick case study of a project that was located in British Columbia, Canada, that had a very specific high performance and sustainability goal. So the building wanted to achieve Passive House standard. They were pursuing LEED V4, and they were really working out their sustainability goals and initiatives for their project, closely aligned with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And so for them, using Rockwool cavity rock, a dual density exterior insulation that's primarily used for rain screen applications, as you can see there on the image in the center, made sense as the perfect fit for this project because of the transparency documentations that this product held. And so cavity rock is a part of our environmental product declaration and is within the 20th percentile in terms of global warming potential performance. The HPD has a disclosure of 100 parts per million, and it also has a red list approved disclosure. Additionally, because Rockwool also has a yearly sustainability report and our goals and science-based target commitments closely aligned with the UN SDGs, was also a perfect fit for this project. And so as a manufacturer, while we are gathering all the data and developing these certifications, there's a lot of learnings and insights that can be taken away as we go through this process. First and foremost, taking a life cycle approach to how we assess our products is going to be critical. So using this LCA to identify some of the hotspot areas, where do we have gaps in performance? How do we improve those? And then again, year over year, using this life cycle assessment as a tool to measure our progress and improvements. Integrating this life cycle approach and identifying the sustainability features and targets that you want to achieve from a product perspective really needs to be set in the early stages of product development. It becomes a lot more challenging to implement some of these sustainability features if the product is at the end of its development stage. So the earlier we incorporate these goals and these strategies, the more efficient and the better the outcome is going to be from a product performance. And lastly, supplier engagement is truly critical to assure true transparency. Like I mentioned earlier, with the development of our HPDs and our declare labels, working with our suppliers is really a means to ensure that we are being accurate and fully disclosing all of the ingredients that go into our products. And then with that, incorporating all the different departments is going to, because we all play a role as well. It's not just a product management responsibility. It's not just the responsibility of the sustainability specialist or manager. It really comes down to integrating all the different teams, including supply chain, including finance, including operations. And so when it comes to the design community using these product transparency documentation, we always encourage to look for products that have the prescriptive sustainability requirements that you're looking to achieve, but also making sure that you're not forgetting about the performance attributes and making sure that at the end of the day, the products that are being selected are fit for purpose as well. So moving forward, as we continue to move the needle forward as an industry, there's three key things that I think that we need to highlight, both from a manufacturer's perspective, but also the design and construction community. And the first one being aligning in the types of transparency documentations that are being requested from the industry. This enables manufacturers to prioritize efficiently and effectively so that we can meet the needs of our customers. Making sure that these prescriptive and performance sustainability requirements are included in the specifications, and assuring that during procurement that these requirements are being met. And lastly, which I think is most importantly, is continuously improving the collaboration between all the different stakeholders. That includes the manufacturers, the design community, but also working very closely with industry associations, also working with code and policy development in order to align to meet these building decarbonization goals that are critical.
Well, thank you, Alejandra. the work that you're doing, it's so impressive. And being able to have red list free, 20th percentile, red list approved, having such a broad range of disclosures and the strategies that you guys are employing is really powerful and obviously does well for the company. For those of you who are still hanging out, I'm going to wrap up quickly. You can see that the transparency catalog has really the leading manufacturers and who really care about transparency making higher performing products. And now with our addition of Project Builder and Library, we're making it possible for project teams who really care about building higher performing buildings and being able to get those products into projects, not just one time, but many times, and not have to do the same research over and over. Using products from trusted manufacturers, Project Builder and Library allows the entire project team from early stage design all the way through procurement and construction to select the highest performing materials and be able to have the confidence to be able to make those selections. What we're doing is we're operationalizing product selection and closing the gap in workflow and data and tools that exist today that don't connect the stages of design, specification, planning, and building. So we really can revolutionize this end-to-end process for teams. So the way we're doing that is being able to enable project teams to build projects as well as libraries for their organizations, digital product libraries, so that this is an order of magnitude 10 times more than getting a manufacturer's product into the office master specification. This is getting products into reusable project templates, office libraries, where all of the knowledge and learning about the product can be stored and reused on future projects. Here's a quick example of a project library page that shows some examples of projects that can be collected or created based on really any attributes that the organization has for product selection. It can be an actual building, or it can be a collection based on attributes like 20th percentile or Perkins and Will. It can be room types. This is where all the collaboration happens. And then products can be archived in libraries. So currently it's in private beta, coming later this fall. If you get a free Transparency Catalog account now, you'll get notified when it goes live. And I want to thank everyone today, our presenters from Georgia Pacific, Sika, and Rockwool for sharing their stories, and for all of you taking time out of your busy day to show up and learn about what we're all doing. Watch for the next 2 webinars in this series coming this fall, and we wish you a great day. Thank you, Alejandra, Monica, Wyatt, John, and Amy. Have a great day.